Hey Mumsykins, I'm Jungle Barbie. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'll be sharing with you 4 ways in which, or 4 techniques that you can use to groom your locks at home. So if you're interested, then keep on watching. So I know since the shelter-in-place order has been bestowed upon us, lots of us are unable to go to the salons to get our regular pampering routine done, whether it's our hair or nails or skin or eyebrow or eyelashes, etc. And so I think you learning how to do these things for yourself will be a plus for you, just in case something like this happens again in the future. So this video will be very helpful in talking to you about the different techniques that you can use to groom your locks at home, as well as if you want to save some money by doing your locks at home by yourself, then this video is also for you. So the methods I'll talk to you about, or the techniques that I'll talk to you about, are interlocking, retwisting, palm rolling, and crocheting. And for these 4 methods, they are different techniques and you can use them at different points in your lock journey, or you could combine them depending on what you want for your locks. I will start off first with palm rolling. This method involves you using your palms, and so it requires no tools. The only tools you'll need is your hands. So what you'll do basically is to take the lock in between your palms and roll them in the direction that you retwist your locks, or in the direction that your locks have been twisted. Do not do it in the opposite direction, because you will unravel your locks and it will not lock very well. It will start unraveling and then you have problems with your lock locking and staying in place. The benefit of palm rolling is that it will allow your locks to be very smooth. So if you notice that you're having bumps on your locks, what you could do is to go ahead and palm roll your locks, and it will smooth out your locks, giving your lock and a very even look, as well as it will give it a very neat and manicured look. Also, when you have your new growth and you retwist them onto your fully formed locks, I advise that you go ahead and you palm roll it just to blend the new growth to your fully formed locks. The next technique is retwisting. And for retwisting, basically what you're going to do is to separate your hair from the root. So you want to get your new growth, separate them, because usually they are tangled together. So you separate your new growth and then you take your new growth and you start to retwist them around the root as well as on your fully formed locks. This will ensure that the new growths are blended to your fully formed locks and you will not have a smaller base and then a chunkier end. When you retwist the new growths onto your fully formed locks and then palm roll it, it gives it that even texture and that even look. When you retwist your locks, you could go ahead and clip them to keep them in place from unraveling until they are dry, or you could do another method that's called the hair tie method, and this is the method that I use because I find that it is easier for me because of the number of locks that I have. But I know lots of people prefer to use the clip method, and I have nothing against it, but the hair tie method works best for me. Method number 3, and this is interlocking. And interlocking basically is when you use this needle. So at the end it has a hook, and you use this needle to knot or to pull your hair through, creating knots to prevent your hair from unraveling very quickly. The good thing about this method is that when you do it, it lasts for a very long time, and even when you wash your hair will still look neat and it will not unravel. But with this method, if you do it too often, then you will find that your root is very thin and then your ends are very thick. So that's a downside to this method. Also, if you do not know how to do this method correctly, you could have hair breakage. So lots of people, when they do interlocking, they have a at the base of their hair. So this is because the person who did their hair do not know how to do it properly, and there is a technique to prevent that from happening. When the V happens, then your hair is weak because it tends to have two locks but one end, and so it makes your hair very thin, and then it causes your hair, when it starts to grow out, to be very thin and weak, and it will break. The final method is crocheting, and this is new to the US, but when I lived in Japan, this is the way that the Japanese people usually interlock their locks. I like this method because it can give you fully formed locks from the get-go. So say for example you have very long, loose, natural hair and you like to sport lock, or you like to lock your hair. You know that if you use any other method, for example the comb method, the two-strand twist, the plaits, the coils, if you use those methods to lock your hair, then your hair will shrink and you'll not be able to sport your locked as well as at its original length. But with the crochet method, you could go ahead and sport your lock at your regular length as well as they'll be formed. This method, it is very time consuming, and most people do not like to use it because it can take days if you have lots of locks to be done. And that's the reason why I do not do this method very often, because crocheting and interlocking, they are time consuming, and so that's the downside to this method. Those were the techniques that I would recommend to groom your locks at home. If you would like in-depth demonstration of these techniques, you could go ahead and email me. I'll have my email in the description box below, and then you could set up a one-on-one consultation where I could go ahead and show you how to do the technique specifically for your hair. Also, let me know in the comment box below which one of these techniques you use to groom your locks. Thank you ever so much for watching, and until next time, be safe. Bye.